Have you ever heard the term tilted? As in, I'm just kind of tilted right now. You may not have, and that's because, as I know the term, it comes from competitive gaming. And as I was explaining this concept and this word to someone earlier today, I realized there's a lot of ramifications to understanding this concept that are practical and useful to you. So I wanted to make a video going into some detail about what this is. Now, tilted, in generally, you could summarize it as put off your game. But there are a lot of meanings beneath that that affect our performance, that affect our ongoing performance, and affect how things tend to affect us in turn once we become a bit tilted. What I'm trying to decide now is how much detail to go into in terms of how much backstory about some complexities of the game that I played to use as reference. I've decided I'm going to do a little bit. I'm going to trust that it's useful. And if you don't get it, that's okay. We'll move on to the practical psychological applications of this quite soon in the video. But bear with me, I think this will be worth it. So a game that I have spent a lot of time playing is a game called Dota 2. Pretty addictive. I've lost many hours there, and there's a lot of substance to that game. There's a lot of complexity. At the beginning of the game, first of all, it's 5 people versus 5 people. So 2 teams of 5 people each, and they're clashing. It's sort of like, rugby. Each team's trying to get to the other side. They bounce into each other and try and push each other back. Really interesting game. At the beginning of the game, there are 5 people, and they all meet in 3 different lanes. So there's the middle lane, and there's a top lane, and there's a bottom lane. So 5 divided by 3, it doesn't work that easily, right? And so you have 2 people go in the top, 2 people go in the bottom, and 1 goes in the middle, at least the way that the game's currently played these days. What that means is that the two groups of 2, that go on the top and the bottom, they are dividing the resources in that lane more equally, and also the other 2 people that they're clashing against, well, it's 2 versus 2, it's a bit more balanced. If one person screws up, then the other can compensate and maybe save your ass and kind of balance things out a bit. The middle lane is a 1 versus 1. Now, a very important thing to understand about this game, and again, bear with me, this is useful and relevant, is that Dota is a game where people tend to snowball, as in if they're doing well, that compounds. Just like if you have a snowball rolling down a hill, as it goes down the hill of snow, it gets bigger and bigger as it picks more and more up and gains momentum. As well, the inverse is true. Mistakes tend to compound. If I have a bad time or if I die and then I come back to life, I'm weaker, which means compared to everyone else, I'm even weaker because they've gotten stronger, which means I'm more likely to die, which means I'll be weaker and they're stronger. So mistakes tend to compound. Now, in the lanes where you have 2 versus 2, it's okay. Like if you make a mistake, that's fine. The consequences aren't quite as bad because maybe the other person picks up the slack, like I said. The middle lane, there's a lot of pressure. It's a 1 versus 1, it's a pure skill thing. And because the resources aren't shared between 2 people, there's more expectation on that person to do so much better. What happens in this game is that an effective way to win the whole game is for you to defeat or spend a lot of your time early on attacking that middle player, who is just a real life human being on another computer on the other side of the world, clacking away. If you defeat him enough times early on, he becomes tilted. Now this brings us back. What does that mean? If this person who has all of this pressure put onto them that is expected to do better dies repeatedly early on, they are so far behind, their mistakes compound that it gets into their mind. They start making less rational decisions. They start jumping in or getting more frustrated. Sometimes people give up. Just think, oh, screw this, and they stop playing well at all. And then because the team's relying on that person to do well, then the whole team crumbles. Just by attacking and targeting one person and tilting them. Now in this context, that person would be tilted. Someone who's tilted in a game like this is likely to attack their teammates verbally. Go, oh, you didn't help me, it's your fault and not mine, and as our egos kick in to defend ourselves, because it's uncomfortable feeling at fault. So we like to put it on others, even though that's not a useful strategy. But we're not thinking strategically, we're not thinking logically, because we're just frustrated and tilted and put up our game. Now, what happens if we tend to verbally attack and blame other teammates? Well, they give it right back. They say, "No, man, you suck." And that just makes us feel worse, makes us more tilted. As a result, we'll go and make worse decisions and die again. And it really, really snowballs. This is where I know the phrase from. Now, I've gone into all of this detail. Can you already see some parallels here in your life? This idea that once you start to get frustrated or upset, that's going to compound, that it's going to change the way that you're thinking and operating to cause more unpleasant things to occur to you, that's just going to upset and disrupt you further. That's kind of my point here. And what do we do when we get tilted? Let me tell you about my experience today. I was doing some editing of some videos on some pretty advanced software. Now, as you know, I may have noticed, I don't edit videos on this YouTube. That's because I spend so many hours a day editing other stuff. I'm pretty edited out. And there's other reasons too. But anyway, I tried a few things and I even went into the settings and it disrupted my hotkeys and changed some things that was very, very, very frustrating. Sent me back like an hour or two of work. And I realized I was just suddenly very tilted. I didn't want to keep persevering, and in fact, I shouldn't. It would be irresponsible for me to keep trying to do that because I was in a mood where I was off my game. I was just going to make more mistakes in my frustration, in my impatience. I would look for more ways to do things quicker or just get annoyed and go, screw this, and try and do janky workarounds that were likely going to make more problems for me later. Just as in the game Dota, if I was tilted in my editing, I would likely just compound and my mistakes would compound and build on more mistakes. So what should I do? Step away. Step away, step back completely, get some fresh air, bite to eat, change the subject, and just chill out and let it all go before coming back. Now, when we're tilted, often that doesn't occur to us. We're not really thinking rationally about not even the situation, but even how to manage ourselves in that situation. So often what we want to do, because we're frustrated at that one thing, for me, maybe the editing software, or for someone in the game, they might be frustrated at the game, we tend to narrow our focus onto the thing that frustrates us. We see that as the source of our frustration, and because we're so motivated and pissed off, we want to do something about it by putting our energy into the thing that we believe is the source of our frustration. My point is, it's human nature to keep tunnel visioning on the thing that's pissed us off in the first place. And like, oh, if I could just fix this, then things would be better. Duh. But we don't acknowledge the state that we're in. We don't acknowledge that this is not the way or the place or the time to be tunnel visioning on that. Unless we've practiced this, unless we're a bit mindful, unless we've had perhaps some very good coaching to let us notice the state that we're in and step back and go, what do I need right now? And then give ourselves that. Today, I feel very proud of me for acknowledging this and then doing the thing. And again, I feel like I should try to walk my walk. And I'm always happy to see when I do. This isn't me just bragging. I'm just trying to emphasize some other things where we need to reinforce in ourselves every time we achieve. It's important for you too. Every time you do something that you feel that you should feel good about, acknowledge it, feel proud. It's okay, it's safe, and will just make you do better in future. Yeah. Find the thread, Jack. Okay. Now, I reset, I step back, I calm down, and I approach it again It's crazy how going away and having some fresh air, I come back to it, all of the things that pissed me off before, they're okay now. Because I had that time and space and distance and perspective. But if I stayed in that tunnel vision zone and I just kept making things worse and worse, possibly my day could have snowballed until 2 hours from now I'm on the couch sobbing, everything sucks, I hate this. That's an outcome. I've been there. Today I manage myself differently. And I was able to do that because I acknowledged the state that I was in, and I used this terminology, this framework, this concept from games that I've played in the past of being tilted to work out how to untilt myself. More, if we're tilted, we're off our balance. So what I needed to do is regain my balance and my composure. How can you apply this in your own life? What's a moment in the last week or month that something put you off, disrupted you, and you kept persevering and that was not the right thing to do? What's a moment in the last week or month of your life that you were disrupted, noticed it, stepped back, and made a positive change to get yourself rebalanced and back on track? You can do this. This first step is awareness. And if you have awareness, then you can use tools. Thank you for your time. I hope that this helped. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe, because I make a new video every single day. And tomorrow I'll be talking about something likely completely different. I can't wait to share that with you then. And again, thank you for your time today. I hope that this concept resonates and helps you regain your balance and keeps you untilted. Go well.